Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you all for being here. Glad to see such a great turnout. Welcome to the San Diego Digital Law Library MCLE. And thank you again for being here. My name is Rianne, and I'm a reference librarian at the San Diego Law Library. And today we have the honor of having Andrea Roberts with us as our speaker today. So before we get started, I would like to go over a few bits of housekeeping. First thing, this is a CLE presentation. And for those of you who are watching or listening today, you will get a certificate of attendance from the library by email once we verify who actually attended. If you are attending today's session via audio and you dialed in with a phone number, please send us an email with your name, phone number, and bar number in order to receive an MCLE certificate. Again, you'll only need to email us your name, phone number, and bar number if you are joining us by audio and you dialed in. You should also have received the 2 handouts for the presentation for today. If you did not receive them, please email the reference desk at info@sdlawlibrary.org. Also, if you are watching a recording of this video on YouTube, unfortunately, we do not provide a certificate for recordings, but you can access the self-study log on the State Bar's website, and there is a link in the description box below. All right, so back to those of you who are watching live on Zoom today, this is an interactive session, and you can ask questions by using the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. You'll see the Q&A icon. With the Q&A function, you can ask questions with your name or anonymously, whichever you feel more comfortable with. And we do hope to get to most of the questions by the end of the presentation. And finally, at the end of the session, you will see a link to a survey. So if you can, please just take a moment, fill it out. We greatly appreciate your feedback. All right, that's all I have, and I'll turn things over to Andrea.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here so everyone can follow along. There we go. You should be able to see the digital library. Again, my name is Andrea Roberts. I am your LexisNexis digital library consultant. And today we are going to go through all of the features and functionality that you have access to remotely through the San Diego Law Library's digital library. The first thing to point out is how to get to the digital library. If you happen to be on the San Diego Law Library's website, there's a couple spots that you can jump directly to that specific digital library site. Under research, up at the top here, there is a link to databases. You can click on that and it'll pull up a full list. Also, if you scroll down a little bit here, you'll see that same link for databases. When you click into it, it's going to alphabetically list out all of your different resources. And so as you scroll down, halfway down the page here, you're going to see the San Diego Digital Law Library. When they say Lexis eBooks, those are going to be your treatises that you're familiar with, a lot of your Matthew Bender or LexisNexis treatise material, California practice and procedure, all of the basics when you're thinking about it. On the right, I just want to scroll through here really quick so you can see it. There is a link if you already have a login to jump right to the digital library. However, if you haven't already signed up to be able to access this content, there are instructions linked. And this is going to show you all of the information about the digital library. There will be a link down below as you scroll through to show you how to access the digital library and where to go in case you have any questions. They list out the reference desk email. Once you've signed up and you have access to the digital library, when you click on any of the links, it'll take you directly to the San Diego Digital Law Library's homepage. The first time you access the digital library, this homepage will be completely blank because it doesn't have any recently read history. You won't see any of your notes or highlights. This is just going to be a blank screen that first time you log on. But then as you use the digital library, as you borrow materials, this homepage will be just a quick reference of what you've recently been accessing so you can jump right back into it. Right now we're looking at my recently read homepage, so you can see everything I've looked at recently. And then up at the top, you'll see this unique URL. It's lexisdl.com/library/SD law library. If you bookmark that site, you'll always be able to just jump right into it. It is the unique URL for this one particular digital library. So again, if you bookmark this site, it'll be really easy for you to jump right into it. Everything I'm going to show you on the computer here, you can do on any mobile device as well. So if you do prefer using your phone or your tablet to access content, we do have a free digital library app. You can search for it in the App Store for Apple devices or the Google Play Store for Android devices. Just look for LexisNexis Digital Library. It's a free download, and the only difference between logging in through your computer's browser or logging in through the app is that the app will ask you for a library code. When you're asked for a library code, yours is just the end of your URL, so it's just SD Law Library. So again, you'll only be asked that if you're trying to access the digital library through a mobile app. But again, your library code is just SD Law Library. Once you log in, you'll have all the same features and functionality available to you on the app as you do on your computer's browser. You can also download titles. So if you know you're going to be offline for quite a bit, you can actually download a volume and have access to it without having internet connection. Once you log in, on the left-hand side will be all of your navigation tools. So as you scroll down here, you'll see there is a Browse Library button. If I click into that, that's going to take me to a few curated collections that your library staff has put together just to make it easier for you to access specific content. So the first collection you see is going to be all of your popular titles. These are the most requested or used throughout the library. Down below that, you'll see a recently added collection. This is going to be either new additions and releases of certain content or anything new that the library has purchased. And then at the bottom, you'll see a link to your multi-volume sets. So if you wanted to jump into any of the larger sets, you can do it right from here. You'll see as I've been scrolling down, excuse me, it only lists out like the first 6 titles within this collection. If you want to see everything that's part of the collection, you can click on the collection name itself, or where it says see all 68 sets over on the right here. That'll open up the entire collection so you can view it. At the very bottom of this screen, you're going to see subjects for different jurisdictions and practice areas, and a button that says View Full Collection. If you've ever wanted to know, every single volume that's included within the San Diego Digital Law Library, you can click View Collection, and that's going to take you to an alphabetical listing by each individual volume of everything that's part of the digital library. You can filter, so if there's a specific jurisdiction or practice area you're looking for, you can filter that out. You can look and see what the newest releases are from here as well on the right-hand side. But if you've ever just wanted to browse through and see what all is part of the digital library, this will list out each individual volume. So there's 530 individual volumes here that you can quickly scroll through. If I go back to that Browse Library and the very bottom of that page, these hyperlinks for different subjects and jurisdictions can be really useful if you're trying to get an overall view of what's part of the collection. If you click See All 48 Subjects on the right-hand side, that's going to take you to an alphabetical listing by jurisdiction and practice area of all of the content that's included within your digital library. And I really like how this breaks it down. So if you come in here and you knew you only needed the information that we have for, we'll say, estate gift and trust law, you can click on estate gift and trust law, and it will automatically just take you to those 6 volumes that deal with that content. So it's kind of a nice way to come in here, see what's available for the specific subject you might be researching, and then jump right to those volumes that would be pertinent to that information. However, when you jump into the digital library, no matter where you are, there's a search bar up at the top. So if you already know what you're looking for, you can type in a title, an author, a subject, whatever it is, into the search bar, so you can pull up those search results immediately. This search bar, though, only looks through title information. So I want to make that clear. It's not looking through the content of any individual volumes. It's just looking through the title info. You'll have a chance to search through, the content of the volume prior to opening it, but this specific search bar at the top here only looks through title info. However, if I start typing in, family law, as I type in, you'll see it auto-populates specific resources. These resources are part of your collection. So if you were looking for a specific title, you can click on it and jump right to it. Or if you wanted to see everything that we have on family law, you can just click search and it will automatically pull up all of the results. When you pull up a results list, it's going to default to what they call all titles, which is really just all volumes expanded out for that search. So as you scroll down here, you're going to see every single volume available that you have access to. If you prefer to see those sets grouped together as a set, you have that option. There's a sets button right next to that all titles button. Again, that's user preference about how you like to view your search results. 19 individual volumes isn't that much, so feel free just to quickly scroll down here. However, depending on your search, it might have brought back 50 or more volumes. So you can always narrow those with the filters button up at the top. Again, you can narrow by jurisdiction, practice area, content type, or you can sort by relevance, title, or release date on your right-hand side. I'm going to jump into sets here just so you can see a couple of options. When you're looking at a set, scroll down, we'll go with the first one here, California Family Law. If you click anywhere on the title or where it says View Set, it's going to take you to a set details page. And there's a few things you can do here that you can't do immediately on just like an individual volumes page. So I want to point those out just so you can see it. On the left-hand side, it's just going to tell you what edition you're looking at, how many volumes are part of the set. There's a copy link that you can send a link, or you can share a link to this set page with anyone else that might have access to the digital library. And then there's a subscribe button. You're going to see this little subscribe bell in a few different spots throughout the digital library. What that would allow you to do is subscribe to an alert for this set. You can set alerts on an entire set or individual volumes within a set. And then anytime there's a new release or addition added to the digital library for that volume that you decided to subscribe to, you would be notified. So you'll always be able to stay up to date on the newest releases for those volumes you're interested in, or the volumes you use over and over again. If you're familiar with Lexis Advance or Lexis Plus, that bell should look pretty familiar. It's the same little icon we use on our Lexis case law that you can set alerts on as well. So again, if you're in a set view and you click subscribe, it's going to subscribe to an alert for the entire set that you're looking at. On the right-hand side, there's a link to a table of contents. And the one unique feature that you have when you're looking at a set is that you can easily switch between different table of contents for different volumes. But it's going to start at volume 1 here, but you can quickly jump into any of the table of contents just by clicking into it. It'll show you your table of contents that you can expand out. Every single table of contents is hyperlinked, so you can click on a section and jump right to it. But again, the set view that I'm looking at here will give you the ability to quickly scroll through and search for any of the table of contents throughout that whole set. And then you'll have a search list set option down at the bottom. This is where you can actually run a search for a keyword or a phrase through the content of this set. So if you're looking for something specific, you can type it in here and it will automatically search through all volumes within the set and show you where your search terms pop up. However, if we're just looking at those single standalone volume search results, And we'll use that same title just because here. If I click into this volume, the individual volume, not the set, it's going to take me to what we call a book details page. And this is going to be all of the information you've ever wanted on just that one volume. So it differs a little bit than that set view because the set view gives you just, the set information. This is going to really dive into the individual volume. So on the left-hand side, you'll see that it gives you edition and release information, when it was last updated. Down at the bottom here, there's a bright red read button, so you can jump right into it if you know that's the one you're looking for. There's also a copy link. So again, you can share a link to this page. There's a subscribe button. So if you only want to follow this one volume, you can subscribe to just the individual volume. Again, if you subscribe to an alert when there's a update to it, you'll receive this notification. Plus, there's this little bell icon up at the top right-hand corner. If you see a red dot there, that means there's been an update to a volume you've set an alert on. And when you click into it, it'll allow you to jump directly into whichever update you want to. You can also manage your alerts from this little bell as well. Below the copy and subscribe buttons, there is a My Tags option. I think of tags as quick links to those volumes you're going to use over and over again. You can name your tags whatever you want. They're unique to your user ID, so no one else will ever see them. We don't delete them at any point. You can name the tags whatever you want. You can add as many tags as you want. There's not a limit. If I wanted to tag this with just a family law tag, I can type family, click add tag, and you'll see that it automatically adds it here. Now, the next time I need this volume, rather than having to run a search for it, it will always populate on my homepage. So you'll see it down below here. You'll see that family tag and under my tags on the left-hand side. So a couple spots where you can quickly jump into those volumes that you've tagged, again, without having to run a search. As a remote patron, if you're accessing the digital library remotely, so say from your home or your office, you'll see that most volumes on here just tell you how many copies are available. So this says available copies 1 of 1. Your index volumes are set to unlimited access, so your index volumes will always be available to you. However, all other volumes are just going to be 1 copy of that volume at a time. So if someone else has already borrowed it, rather than saying read here, it'll say place a hold. You can place holds on as many titles as you need to. As soon as that hold or that title becomes available, you'll receive an email letting you know that you can now go into the digital library and borrow it. On the right-hand side, again, you'll see that table of contents hyperlink. You can expand out every chapter and subchapter here, quickly scroll through and click on any section. Again, the only difference is that this table of contents is only for this specific volume. So what was this, volume 3, I think? Yeah. This is only showing the table of contents for volume 3. It doesn't allow you to jump to any of the other table of contents for other volumes. A little below that, you're going to see a link to prior releases. Depending on the volume, our prior releases go back to about 2011 in our system. So as you scroll down here, you're going to see that it lists out all of the different releases. So you'll see the release number, the release date. As you scroll down, you can click on any one of these and it will automatically open up that specific release for you. Again, the general rule is that they go back to about 2011. The digital library was created in 2010. So basically everything from that point moving forward should be available on the digital library for you. Lastly, you're going to see a search list title option. It's the same as you saw in that set view. However, this will give you the option of running a search for a keyword or a phrase through all volumes within the set, or just this volume that you happen to be looking at. It's completely up to you, but if you want to just search through this one volume, you can change that those search parameters. I'm going to look for Okay, I'm going to look for temporary custody orders here. I typed in my search terms, and you'll see on your right-hand side, it's pulled up all of the different sections where my search terms populate within this set. It's going to tell you what volume, which section. As I scroll down, you'll see my search terms bolded and highlighted. Gives you a little snippet of that section so you can tell if it's on point with what you're currently researching. And you'll see that each of these search results also provide these little links. So you'll see a copy link and a go to passage link. Copy link would allow you to copy a link to this specific volume or section and share that with anyone else that has access to your digital library. Go to passage would allow you to jump right into that on your own. So you can quickly jump into that specific volume and be dropped right to that section. I'll use this first one here. When I click on that, this little window will appear. It's going to tell you that you have 7 days to borrow this volume. You can borrow up to 3 volumes at any one time. You are able to keep that checked out for that full 7 days if you need it. However, if you're finished with it early, you can always return it early, just so that if there is anyone that's placed a hold on it, they'll immediately be able to access it as well. All I have to do is click borrow, and it will automatically open up the volume for me. There you go. It'll drop you right to that section that you happen to click on. And then from here, you'll be able to access a number of other menu options. I'm going to stop really quick to see if there were any questions up until this point.
Yes, we have 2 questions.
Perfect.
The first question is regarding the number of copies available for checkout. Does this mean that only one digital visitor may view this copy at a time? Thanks for the clarification.
Yes. So if it says, 1 of 1 copy available, that's meaning that only one individual remote user can access it at that time. However, like I said, if you are looking at a index, I lost that word for a second. If you're looking at an index volume, those have unlimited access, so they'll always be available for you. So as many people as need to can look at the index at the same time. If you're on site, so if you're on site within the library's 4 walls, we'll say, there is the option to use guest access. So when you go to log in, on the login page, rather than putting in your unique information, you could log in as a guest, and guest users within the library themselves will have unlimited access to content. But if you're accessing this remotely from your home or office, it's just going to be 1 volume at a time. Okay. Was there another question before I jump back into this one?
Oops, so sorry. I muted myself. Thank you for that. How do we shepherdize our search results?
You won't be shepardizing in here. The digital library is just going to be your treatise content. Any case law that you're looking at, you'll have links to. So when we're in the book itself, I'll point them out a little bit throughout this session, but you'll see links to different codes and cases that are cited within the treatise material. These links would allow you to jump right to that material in Lexis Plus if you have your own Lexis ID. If you don't have your own Lexis ID and you're accessing this remotely, it'll just stop you on a sign-on page, and you'd have to reach out to your library staff for assistance with accessing that case or code.
Thank you. And we have one more question. Is an index item, does it circulate like a paper volume?
Maybe I'm not understanding in the sense that.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. So if it's an anonymous attendee,
Okay.
if you could maybe expand your question a little more, please.
I'm thinking of circulation as in, how often people can actually access it.
Yeah.
So if the question is, I'll just answer that really quickly.
Okay.
Again, if the question is, how quickly it can circulate amongst different users, again, index volumes are always available, so you won't have to worry about that at all. But if that's not the answer you're looking for, go ahead and type in, a follow-up to that question.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, that's all the questions so far.
Okay, perfect. Once we access a volume, so again, we clicked into that first search result, it dropped us right here so we can start our research. You're going to have quite a few options available to you when you're in the material itself. It's going to default to open in this 2-page view, almost like you had the title open on your desk. However, there's a bunch of different preferences you can set. So if you prefer to see this as a single page view, up in the top right-hand corner, next to this little bookmark icon, you'll also see these 3 lines. If you click on those, your second option is a 1-page per screen view. So again, if you'd like to change those view settings, you can to just that single page. Also, if you like using keyboard shortcuts, we list them all out here under keyboard commands, so you can easily jump into them right from here. And if there's anyone who utilizes a screen reader, all of our titles are compatible with 99% of the screen readers on the market. So if you need to, or if you want to, this little circle icon with the person inside, if you click on that, it will actually set the view settings here to be compatible with your screen reader. If you run into any snags, feel free to reach out to your library staff or reach out to me directly. My contact info is on each of the handouts that were sent out. Or again, if you reach out to the library staff, they can always send you my way as well. I'll be happy to walk you through it, but that's what that little circle icon symbolizes. To navigate through the digital library, you can either click on the right or left-hand side of the screen. You can use your little forwards and backwards arrow keys just to, toggle between the pages. And if you're accessing this on a mobile device, you can tap on the right or left-hand side of the screen in order to move the pages forwards and backwards. On the bottom of this screen, you're going to see all of your additional menu resources. At the far bottom right corner, there is a settings button. You have the ability to come in here and customize how you're viewing each and every one of these volumes. You can change everything from the background lighting, if you don't like that bright white background, to the size of the font, the spacing, the type of font, if you don't like the publisher's default. All of this is customizable. And if you take the time to customize it, it will remember it for future use. So you won't have to worry about changing these settings each and every time you log into the digital library. In the bottom left-hand corner here, you're going to see a print icon. You can actually print full sections of this text. You can print, an entire chapter or just individual pages. You can print a hard copy or print a PDF, whichever you prefer. But you do have the option. So again, that little print icon will allow you to print. Generally speaking, we suggest using Google Chrome if you're going to be printing quite a bit. It tends to give you the best print results or print options at this time. However, any modern browser will work. So Chrome, Edge Chromium, Firefox, Safari, any of those browsers, you can easily access the digital library and print any of the content from. Next to the print, you're going to see a hyperlinked table of contents pop up. It's going to show you where you currently are within the volume. You can search through the table of contents or click on any section. It will just jump you right to that section. Next to the table of contents is a search option. This would allow you to run a search for a keyword or a phrase through this one volume. So if there's something else you're looking for, or if you just want to see all of the other instances of, I'm going to break this be here. You can run a search and you'll see that it bolds your search terms. And as you scroll down, each and every section is hyperlinked. So I can click on any one, it's going to jump right to it. It highlights your search term, again, just to draw your eyes to it. And then up at the top, you'll see these forwards and backwards arrow keys appear. This would allow you to quickly jump from search result to search result. So you don't have to go back to that whole list and click each one. However, if you want to, you can click show all, and again, it'll bring up that whole list. So you can quickly jump into any of those results. Probably the most used feature within the digital library is the ability to highlight and annotate full sections of these texts. Your notes and highlights are unique to your user ID. No one else will ever see them. We don't delete them at any point. They will be there indefinitely until you delete them or you delete your user ID. You can add as many notes or highlights as you want. They're available in multiple spots throughout the digital library as well. So feel free, if you like to add notes and highlights, feel free to add as many as you need to. If you want to add a note or a highlight, all you have to do is click and drag your cursor. And you're going to see these options appear. That first option is add annotation. And if you click on that, this little window will appear and it will default to that bright yellow highlighter. However, you can change that to any other color that you might be interested in using. I'll go blue right now. You can also add a note. So there's not a limit to the length of the note you add. So feel free to add as much or as little as you need to here. Just this. And then once I've added whatever note I want, I can click save. And it's automatically going to save that highlight. And it's probably very small on your screens, but there's a little red sticky note icon. And that just symbolizes that there's also an annotation attached to that highlight. And again, as I scroll through, I can quickly just highlight any of the text, click add annotation, change those highlighting colors if I want. And it's as easy as that, just to add a note or a highlight. Again, your notes and highlights are unique to your user ID, so no one else will ever see them. However, if you've added notes and highlights, there's quite a few spots you'll be able to look at them throughout the text. At the bottom here, you're going to see this little annotations option. When you click into that, it's going to pull up all of the notes and highlights that you've added to this volume. It'll show you what you highlighted, what color you highlighted it in, any notes that you've added. You can edit and delete your notes and highlights right from this page. If you've added quite a few notes and highlights, you'll actually be able to run a search for a keyword or a phrase right through them. You can narrow by highlighting color on the right here. There's a specific highlighting color you're looking for. And if you like to have a hard copy of your notes and highlights, you can print a hard copy or print a PDF from this page as well. So lots of options when it comes to notes and highlights from within the title itself. I'll also show you how to access them from the home page as well. But that's just a quick look at notes and highlights. A few other options that you're going to have throughout the ebook itself. If you see anything hyperlinked in blue, those are most likely your footnotes or your chapters. Those would just link you within this specific volume. However, anything you see hyperlinked in green, those are primarily going to be your cases and codes. Those would want to link out to that case or code on Lexis Plus. Now, if you don't have your own Lexis ID, when you click on one of these hyperlinks, it's just going to take you to a sign-on page. If you have your own Lexis account, you can sign in and it will there we go. It will, there we go. It'll automatically take you to that case or code. So it's a really easy way to go directly from the treatise material you happen to be looking at to the cited material within, without losing your spot in this treatise. It'll just open up that new tab, drop you right to the case or code so you can continue your research. However, if you don't have your own Lexis ID, it'll just stop you on that sign-on page, and you can either reach out to the library staff for assistance, or if you have access to any of the other case law sites, you can copy and paste that citation into whatever you have access to. It's going to be an extra step, but 99% of the time, if you paste that citation into Westlaw, it'll pull up that same case or code for you. So if you do happen to only have access to a different case law provider, you can still get to that case just having to copy and paste the citation. Do we have a couple questions before I move on from this one?
Yes, we have two questions. So this is clarification on the last question we had. With some volumes do not circulate in the library, so anyone in the library can access the book for research, while other volumes are available to be checked out. Is the index item like the library paper volume, which is available for review only in the library, or does it circulate?
Okay. The index volume will be available outside as well. So if you're accessing this remotely, I think that's what the question is getting at. If you're accessing the index remotely, it will be available for everyone. It's not just within the four walls of the library.
Thank you. And can I get a Lexis account with the library membership?
That would be.
I can answer that one.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
So to access Lexis Plus, that we have here at the library, it is not included in our borrower's membership. It is only available at the downtown location, but the San Diego Digital Law Library is a part of the borrower's program. Hope that helps. Okay, and that's all the questions.
I believe you guys do you have patron access at your main library location?
For Lexis Plus, yes.
Yes. So if you happen to be on site at the main library branch, and you happen to click on one of these hyperlinks, it should recognize that you're on that IP address that's associated with the patron access for the San Diego Law Library. So it should automatically open up to a patron access account if you're physically within the main library branch that has access to Lexis Plus. It's a little confusing, but if you happen to be on site there, you would be able to link directly into that case or code through the patron access portal.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so again, notes and highlights are probably the most often used feature within the digital library. Feel free to add as many as you want to. Again, you'll be able to access them from multiple spots within the digital library. The first is always going to be when you're in the title itself, but you'll also have access to them from your homepage as well. And this is really nice because, as I mentioned, there's only one copy of each volume available. So you might add notes or highlights onto a volume, and then the next time you want to access those notes and highlights, someone might have already checked out that volume. So you wouldn't be able to access the volume itself, but you'll still have access to any of the notes and highlights you've added to that volume, even if it's not physically available for you to jump into right at that moment. I'm going to close out of the ebook so I can show you where to get those. And when I close out, it just drops me right to where we started, which were those search results. You can jump into another one, or you can click close. And then from your homepage, you're going to see a handful of different options. So again, you're recently read, but then as you scroll down, you have your tags and your annotations. So again, you'll always be able to access your notes and highlights from multiple spots in the digital library without even having to go into that volume you added them to. So if I scroll, oh, sorry, didn't mean to click on that. There you go. On the left-hand side, we looked at Browse Library. We also looked at My Books. And My Books differs from the homepage a little bit, just because the homepage eventually runs out of room to hold all of your recently read volumes. However, My Books will keep track of every volume you've ever borrowed from the time you start your library card on. It's going to show you what you've currently got checked out. So the volume 2 here that we happen to just be looking at. It's also going to show you this little clock icon. And that icon is going to let you know that you can access this title through March 26th here. But if you remember, I did say that if you weren't needing that book anymore and you wanted to return it early, you can. If you forget about it, it'll automatically just go back into circulation as of March 26th. But again, if you wanted to return it early, you can go in here, click on that little clock icon, and it's going to tell you that you can return it. I'm going to click return, and it'll automatically go back into circulation. So again, the next person who might have placed a hold on it will automatically be able to access that volume. I did that just so I can show you where it says place a hold. All you have to do is click place hold. This little place a hold option will populate from the top of your screen, and you just put in whichever email address you want to be notified by, and then click place hold. It'll automatically add it. If you need to, you can go in and edit that hold. So if you need to change the email address, or if you no longer need the hold, you can edit it as well from here. Up at the top, it's going to show you all of your holds that you have access to. So you can edit it at any point. Like I said, change the email address or remove it if you no longer need it. Last thing I really want to hone in on are those annotations again. So from the homepage, you can access them. From within the title, you can access them. But then also in My Annotations on the left-hand side, you can access them as well. When you click into My Annotations, it's going to show you all of your notes and highlights broken down by volume that you've added them to. If we want to look at the ones we just added, I can click View Annotations, and it will show me those annotations that I just created. It's going to show you, what color you used, what you highlighted, any notes that you added. And on the left-hand side, you can pick and choose whichever notes and highlights you're interested in. And this little Actions button appears. When you click into that, you have two options. So you can copy your notes and highlights to a clipboard and then paste them into an email or a Word document, or you can add them to your export queue. I'm going to show you that just because it's a really neat, unique feature within the digital library. You can add multiple notes and highlights from multiple volumes to your queue. So I'm going to do that really quick here. Add to queue. We'll do one more volume, just so you can see it. And once you've added all of the notes and highlights that you're interested in, you can actually go into your export queue. And this is where we give you a lot more options when it comes to organizing and downloading your notes and highlights. So say you're working on a project, you can actually throw all of your notes and highlights from any of the volumes you're accessing into your queue. And then you can basically organize them and choose which ones you want to download right from this spot. So it's a nice way to see all of those notes and highlights in one spot for you. When you go in here, on the right-hand side, you can actually run a search for a keyword or a phrase through all of your notes and highlights. On the left, you can filter by specific highlighting colors. So if there's only a handful of colors you're looking for, you can do that. And when you're ready to download, you can pick and choose whichever notes and highlights you're interested in. We're just going to select all of them really quick. And again, that little Actions option appears. When you click on it now, though, you'll still have the ability to copy and paste if that's all you care about. But you can now add them to a Google Drive account, a PDF, a CSV Excel file. So we give you a lot more options when it comes to downloading your notes and highlights from this export queue than we do in just the basic annotations page. When you're done downloading to whichever you prefer here, you can clear out all of your notes and highlights from your queue. Removing them from this page does not clear them from the title itself. You'll have to actually physically go into that volume and remove those notes and highlights if you want to delete them. Or if you're still working on a project, you can keep your notes and highlights in your queue indefinitely. Again, we never go in there to clear anything out, so you can continuously keep adding to your queue if you need to. Last thing I want to talk about, and again, it has to do with notes and highlights. One really neat feature that we have within the digital library is the ability to copy over all of your notes and highlights from release to release. You know, if you do like adding notes and highlights, you'll see, let me see if I can actually jump into one here. See if it'll let me there. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So if you've added notes and highlights, and sometimes this is tricky to show because you actually have to find one that you have added notes and highlights to. If you're accessing a volume, and say it's the newest release of a volume you've previously accessed, this little drop down will populate when you go to borrow that new release. It's going to let you know that you've previously accessed a prior release of this volume and you've added notes and highlights to that prior release. It'll ask you if you want to copy over your old notes and highlights to this new release so that those notes and highlights follow basically from release to release for you. You don't have to, so it's not mandatory if you don't want to migrate your notes and highlights to that new release. You can just say not now and open the newest release up. However, if you do like to copy those notes and highlights over, you can click copy annotations and it's automatically going to copy those notes and highlights over. Once you click that, you'll see it's copying them over. You can then open up that latest release and your notes and highlights will appear in that latest release for you. You can also look at the annotations details. So if I wanted to review the notes and highlights that I added or I copied over, I can review them. And it's going to tell me how many were successful and if any of them failed. And this is a really nice spot to look at your notes and highlights. So thankfully, we were able to successfully copy over the note and highlight that I added on that previous release. However, if I've previously highlighted or annotated any text that is changed in the new release, it won't be able to immediately copy it over. And so it would show you if something's failed because there's been a change in that text in the new release. And that can be anything that's minor as far as maybe they've revamped a few words within that new release, or it could be something major as in that entire section that you might have highlighted or annotated prior is now removed from the new release. So this will show you if any have failed. It'll give you the option to click into it and see what's currently there. But again, this is one of those neat features that will allow you to easily copy over or transfer over all of your notes and highlights from release to release. That was a lot of information that I threw out there. Does anyone have any questions about anything we've covered within the digital library?
I actually have two questions.
Perfect.
Is there a way to email like a certain chapter of a book to ourselves?
Not yet. So right now you'd have to, print that to PDF and then email the PDF to yourself.
Okay.
Or you can, basically highlight. Oh, actually, you know what? Let me show you this. So let's go into this really quick. Borrow. I forgot to show you one feature. So I'm glad this question came up. Whoever asked it, thank you very much. I was so focused on notes and highlights that I forgot to show you. If you highlight a section of text, you actually can copy that section of text with a citation. Again, it's very similar with the copy with cite feature from Lexis Plus if you're familiar with it. But copy with citation will copy the section of text that you've highlighted. And when you go to paste it into a Word document or an email, it'll include the citation for you. So you do have that option. I know that they're currently working on possibly adding an email option directly from this menu, but currently you'd have to copy that section and then paste it into the email for you.
Great. Thank you.
Sure. There's also this copy passage link that would copy a link to this text that you've highlighted that you can then share with anyone else who has access to the digital library.
Thank you.
Sure.
See two more questions here. Is this the same software version that a law firm would typically subscribe to, or any differences?
This is going to be the exact same setup as any of our firms that subscribe to the digital library. So there's no difference between what you have access to in the public law library as far as features and functionality, as any of our subscribers in one of our law firms or government agencies have access to.
Thank you.
Sure.
Next question. Could you please demonstrate how you check to confirm that your search results are current law for cases and then for statutes?
As in shepherdizing, there's not a way to shepherdize within the digital library. I mean, as far as knowing if it's the most current release, it'll show you your release date. So, you're looking at the, most up-to-date, say, Deering's Code or whichever one this was, family law. Sorry, I have to remember which, when I clicked on, family law practice, it'll show you the release number and the release date. So you can know if it's the most recent release. But if it's looking at a statute or case law specifically, you'd have to go into Lexis Plus and shepherdize it that way.
Thank you. I have a question. So I noticed when you were going to check out a book, there was a little drop down for how many days. What is the maximum amount of days that a patron can check out a book?
Sure. Go in here. That little drop down, it defaults to 7 days. And that is actually the maximum amount of time. So if you click into that, it will only allow you to borrow it for 7 days, and then it will automatically go back into circulation.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next question. They may have missed it at the start, but do we need to have a library subscription to use this version of Lexis at the law library? So I'll answer that one. So if you're within the law library downtown, you don't need to become a borrower to access it. But if you would like to access this database from home, yes, you would have to be a borrower. Anybody else have questions? Okay, I have one more.
Sure.
So we have the Deering's Code and then the pocket parts. What does that look like for the pocket parts on the digital library?
You won't see individual pocket parts, but you will see updated releases that encompass those pocket parts.
Okay.
So as those loose leaves get sent physically to you guys or to the library, there will be an update for a new release of that specific, code on the digital library. So when you click into it, it'll show you, what release number and release date. So if it's including, the newest release or newest pocket parts that you're getting physically within the library.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
We have a few more questions here. So a borrower, what is the cost to be able to use it from home? So to become a borrower, we have 2 levels. The first level is $50 a year, and that gives you access to our remote databases as well. You can check out 1 item and then 1 renewal. For the $75 a year, you can check out up to 5 items and 2 renewals, and that's per year. But each level, either the $50 or the $75 a year, will give you remote access to the digital library. Next question. Does Lexis have a laundry list of what features one can subscribe to?
You mean like database? If the question is specifically focused along databases, I don't have any of that. there's about a zillion, I'm gonna say that, there's a zillion different databases within the Lexis world. But if there's something specific you're looking for, I can see if it's something that we offer.
Got it. Okay, thank you. And yes, Diane, we do have an application online to become a borrower, and I can send you an email with that link as well. I can send that to you after the class. Next question. I'm a little confused. Do I need a Lexis password to use the digital resources, or do I get one from the library?
So the library, in order to access the digital library content that we're looking at now, you'll have to be granted access from the library. And that would give you access to this content. However, if you're trying to access any of that cited material, so the hyperlinks that take you to the cases or codes, that's where you would need your own Lexis ID.
Does anybody have any further questions? Oh, okay. Another one. Can I just subscribe to case law and statutes to look up case law with the link found in the electronic book?
Probably not. I mean, you still have to have a library membership in order to get into the digital library in order to access those hyperlinks. And the hyperlinks themselves, you'd only be able to jump into that case or code if you have your own Lexis ID or if you're in the physical library itself.
Thank you. I really appreciate this webinar. It helps me greatly. Thank you.
Awesome.
Do you have to be a San Diego County resident to become a borrower? Yes, you do have to show proof that you are a San Diego County resident to become a borrower. Okay.
If you're not a San Diego County resident, though, so if there is anyone here that's in a different county, know that Orange County has it, LA County has a digital library. So if you're in one of those counties, you can reach out to their public library or law libraries as well.
Perfect. That's good to know. Thank you.
Sure.
Another attendee said thank you. Thank you. And we are at 1105 Front Street. That's our address. Okay. Any other questions?
These are good questions.
Yeah, very good question. All right. Well, I guess that kind of wraps things up. Thank you so much, Andrea, for an amazing class. I learned so much, and I'm going to share what I learned with my colleagues. And, thank you for everyone for attending today. And we hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.